Hello and welcome to the Justice Factor, coming to you live from Johannesburg. President Jacob Zuma announced in his State of the Nation speech that land was critical and agriculture was key for South Africa's future growth and food security. I'm joined today by Deputy Minister of Agriculture Bheki Cele to discuss this and other issues. After that discussion, as usual, the winners and losers of the week. There are no winners this week, but one massive, big loser. But first, we look at the upheavals in Parliament on Thursday evening and ask what they mean for Parliament, for the opposition, for the media, and for South Africa. Our guests are Ranjeni Munusamy, Associate Editor of the Daily Maverick, and Head of Political Economy at Mistra, Dr. Mcebisi Ndletyana. Guys, welcome to the show. Let me start with you. Many South Africans have been sitting there. I saw there were 500 tweets saying, "Hi, the beloved country," and so forth. Is it that bad? What does it mean, Ranjeni?
I think it is that bad. I think that our political space is now polluted. I think that there can be no rational discussion on real issues affecting the country. For example, the president delivered a major speech on Thursday, and from there has been absolutely no discussion about a major crisis facing our country and our economy, which is the electricity crisis. The entire debate and the preoccupation of South Africa since then has been the signal being switched off and the forcible removal of the economic freedom fighters and the entire fallout around that. And so what happens is that real issues in our country are being pushed aside, and instead that the entire focus is distracted at the moment.
Dr. Ndletyana, would you agree with that? Should I also be weeping into my soup?
It's shocking because you don't know what they do that we can't see. For them to do that, to block the signal, thinking that we would not know, something like that has never happened. And it's a clear violation of the Constitution. So for them, the audacity to do that, and to think that we would not complain when it does happen. So then one wonders what it is that they do that we don't know about, because here it is, you know, in the full view of the world, that they do this thing, and then we also have to worry about the future. That are we okay? What does this mean? Is this an entrenched practice, or is it something that's passing? And also added to that, you have Speaker saying that Malala is a cockroach. This adds to the image of a very dictatorial, intolerant ruling party.
Let me stop you there. Both of you, you've been commenting, writing about politics for the past however many years. You're both very experienced. Now, if I take what you both say, I take the spy tape saga where, for example, two high-ranking members of the NPA were being listened to. Are you saying to me, you're scared that my cell phone could be tapped, your cell phone could be tapped, that South Africans could be living in this phrase has been used, a police state?
You see, my biggest concern on Thursday night was the response of the ANC and of the Speaker, and subsequently the response of the President. Up to now, there is no appreciation from them, those people who lead our society, about how serious it is and how the consequences of such a thing happening in the Parliament of South Africa. See, the Speaker's response at Thursday night is, we'll get it investigated, which is political speak for, we'll get to it some other time. Until the opposition parties put their foot down and said, we're not proceeding with the business of the House until the matter is dealt with. If they had not said that, that matter would definitely not have been dealt with. So for them, this is par for the course. It's how you deal with a fraught political situation. It's how you deal with political adversaries. They actually don't see anything wrong with it.
See, the problem is if you have power, and you've had power for quite some time, it dulls your senses. You lose the powers of persuasion. Because whenever you want anything done, you use your authority, use your power. The ANC, for the first time, is faced with this vibrant opposition. They are asking very uncomfortable questions, and they have been facing a series of scandals from a president whom they elected. So they're quite embarrassed by it. They're implicated in everything that he does because he is their choice, right? So instead of asking him to do the right thing, they want to silence us. And also you have a speaker who's chairperson of the party, and she takes these hierarchical relationships within the party into Parliament. You should have seen how she addressed the president. Please, sorry, sir, may you please? And yet she's speaker. The president is in her house, right? But here she is being submissive. So you have failure to persuade because they've always relied on their power, and also you have a compromised speaker who is really submissive to the president.
Ranjeni, the president was laughing. He made a joke later on in his speech that I feel sorry for those who are not in here to celebrate with us the fact that we are moving ahead. How should President Zuma have reacted to what had happened in front of him just an hour before?
He should take leadership. He should have put the speech aside for a little bit and say, fellow South Africans, this has been a very unfortunate incident. My heart bleeds for what happens, for how we now relate as political parties. We are not enemies. We should be able to find a way through this, and we should also be able to discuss how this happened. If there's anything I can do, I'm going to try my level best to work through this, because this should never have happened. I think if he had said something like that, it would have, diffused the situation. As it was, I was sitting in that house, Justice, and I can tell you, the hair at the back of my neck was standing up. I couldn't believe that he was laughing. It just sent shivers down my spine to think that the leader of South Africa doesn't realize how serious and how awful that was happening there.
Dr. Ndletyana, Bheki, in a discussion with students in Pretoria, I think on Friday, said, the House or the leaders of Parliament tried to use the rules to solve a political problem. How should it have been solved? What did he mean, do you think?
It's a political problem. There's a question on the table about Jacob Zuma having to pay back some of the money that was used towards improving his house. We all know that some of the features have nothing to do with his security. So that money he has to pay. The public protector, a very credible institution with which he has been complying all the time. There are several cases where the president simply complied. He never asked any question. In this case, he says he is innocent, and yet the report says he is implicated. That's the point, right? They have no strategy at all. You're about to address the nation. What you need is to communicate your message, and for that you need the media. You don't start off by pissing off the media because you need the media to broadcast your message, right? So what you have the next day, headlines, Parliament disrupted. So your message is lost completely. Failure of communication strategy, elementary failure that shouldn't have happened.
Okay, guys, we've concentrated on the ANC's reaction on members of Parliament, the ANC members of Parliament. What about the opposition, Ranjeni? Did the EFF come out of this looking squeaky clean? What about the DA? Is it scared of what's going to happen with Julius Malema?
I don't think the EFF came out squeaky clean, but I think that they are winning sympathy because of the way they are being dealt with. I don't think anybody was comfortable really with their tactics. This is a big occasion, but I think that the ANC and the Speaker lost sight of the fact that they are entitled to ask questions and that they should have been dealt with rationally, not have a pre-prepared script and then just throw the iron fist at them.
5 seconds, Dr. Ndletyana. The DA, should it be running scared that it doesn't seem to be looking like the leader of the opposition and it's elsewhere?
They are really struggling to kind of position themselves, but they managed to get a few brownie points by walking out, based on the invasion of Parliament by the police. That was a good strategy, but they seem to be reacting to Julius. Julius is now leading the pack, I'm afraid.
Mcebisi, Ndletyana, Ranjeni, Munusamy, thanks so much for your time. Always a pleasure to have you here. After the break, we welcome Deputy Minister Bheki Cele to the Justice Factor.